the World Series. So game 3, we're in extra innings. Everybody's coming out of the Dodgers bullpen. There's now a certain point where I believe you're the last one standing alone in the pen. So let's start there. What were your thoughts kind of being the last man standing in extra innings?
Yeah, I was just watching our guys go out and shove, which was great. And like when you're not pitching, you're like, it's hard not to be like a fan of your own team. And so you're just like up and down with like each at bat, each pitch. And so like I was more nervous like watching the game as a fan. And so they put the thing up on the broadcast showing like pitchers remaining. It was me, Kirsch, and Henriquez. And I was like, oh my God, I did not realize we had gotten that low. And then Kirsch went and got probably the biggest out of that game with the base load and getting the ground out. So that was huge. But then Henriquez was in. I was like, well, I will finish the game after him. And so I just kind of like started getting that like mindset of like, all right, like, if I go in this game, I'm not going to be the one to lose it. And so just starting to get mentally prepared. And then I was warming up and we had like runners on. It's like, oh, I might not even have to pitch, like might win this here. And then like we got that third out. It's like, all right, like, time to lock in and see how long I can go, kind of deal. Yeah, each time I came back in, they just said keep going. So it was like the same thing. Like every time we got that third out, it's just like shut off your mind and like go back out there. So it was kind of fun, being the last one available. Honestly, just we saw how far I could go, 4 innings. So it was more than I thought I would need. But it was kind of fun being the last guy out there, and just being the one to finish it actually.
I wanted to talk to you about what was going through your mind during those 4 innings, because you threw 72 pitches, you got through 4, you got the win. But like you said, each time you got through the order and got the side retired, it was another chance for the Dodgers to come back and not come back, but to win the game. And so after, watching them on offense not get the job done and you have to go back out there, I mean, was there like this mental game you were playing in the dugout, just kind of watching it unfold, or were you kind of just by yourself, just staying ready to stay locked in case you had to go back out there?
Yeah, I was sitting by myself on the bench, because it's easy to get caught up in like watching the game if you're out there, and then like get caught off guard if a double play happens or the inning ends quickly or something, and so it's easy to like get taken out of it. So I was sitting by myself, but I was like watching. But each time like we get to 1 out, it's like, all right, like you gotta flip it, and then 2 outs especially, like put all your gear back on, even if we have guys on, like that inning ends, I want to be back out there as soon as I can, and so but like yeah, like I was done after that 4th one, so I kind of shut it off then. But yeah, just between each inning, like it was as soon as like we got that 2nd out, it was like, all right, like we're gonna go back out there, we're gonna get 3 outs, we're gonna come back in, and we're gonna do it again. And so I didn't feel like super worried about our offense or anything, because you knew they were going to do it, and they had it's the World Series. There are a bunch of good pitchers over there, so it's really hard to score runs. But you just knew like with the guys we had and the experience they had, like someone was going to do it. It was just like when, and it was pretty sick that it was Freddie. So that was really cool.
I know, back-to-back World Series, he walks it off. Just remarkable. So you knew you were done after 4. What was the conversation like with Doc in the dugout? Like, did he come up to you and say you're done, or did he ask you kind of what you had left?
Yeah, after I came in the 3rd, they're like, "Can you keep going?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I can just go as long as you guys need." And like the first 3 were pretty efficient. That 4th one obviously it took a little longer. So I think that's kind of where they're like, all right. So I knew Yama was warming up during that 4th inning. And so when I'd come in, he was like, "You're done, like good job," and the usual, but you're still in a World Series game, so like you can't celebrate anything yet, but it was like good job and high fives and stuff. And so just the usual like handshake, like, all right, you're done for the day. And I was like, he said that, I was like, who's going in? And I look out there, it's Yamamoto. I'm like, no freaking way. Like that was just crazy to look down there, and obviously we saw him do it in Game 7 anyways, but that guy is just remarkable.
I know, it was like a foreshadow.
So Jake mentioned you had to throw 72 pitches to be the hero for the Dodgers. Was there a certain like threshold after you hit like X pitch, like let's say after the 30th pitch or the 40th pitch, where all of a sudden you had to change your approach because you're like, okay, I'm entering uncharted territories. Like I don't know if my velocity is going to start to drop or my secondary pitches might get more vulnerable? Or was it just like pitch by pitch, you weren't even thinking about it, you were just giving it your all?
Oh yeah, I wasn't paying attention to how many I threw. Each pitch was a new pitch, and it didn't matter, really the pitches before. And I was just like the same mindset every pitch. I was like, "F you, hit this. Let's see what you can do." And yeah, because you start worrying about like, oh, I think my velo might drop. I need to be a little more fine here. Like that's when you start missing, or like getting out of your delivery and all that stuff. And I think just like for me personally, I just got to be like on the attack and like going at guys, like getting in on them and throwing my stuff like put away and just stuff like that. And if I start getting like timid, like, oh, I might be throwing slower. Like I was throwing slower in the fourth inning, but it didn't matter, because I was still throwing it like at him. Like I was throwing it. I wasn't like throwing a fastball to the hitter. I was throwing it at him and, just like going straight at him and being more aggressive in the bats and, not letting the pitch kind of like get to me or like being tired get to me, just keeping in the mindset of staying on the attack is what ultimately let me get through 4 innings,
I want to take you back to the 18th inning, the final at bat, just setting up the scenario. You have second and third, it's 2 out. You get Heineman at the plate, who's a lefty, and you get him. He fouls the first pitch off, but then you throw 3 straight balls, so it's 3-1, and then you get him with a fastball, strike looking, and then you drop in this hammer of a curveball out of nowhere. I remember you talking in the beginning of this interview that you were developing a sweeper. They were helping you with this curveball. Like, tell me about that pitch. Who called it? How much confidence did you have in it? It was a disgusting pitch, and basically you walked off the mound with a scoreless appearance at the end of it. So walk us through that last pitch.
Yeah, I mean, Will called a 3-2 curveball, and I couldn't have been more excited to throw it. Just like him calling it in such a big spot, ultimately like puts that confidence in you of like, oh my God, like he wants it here. He knows I can throw it. I know I can throw it. Like, let's just make this nasty. And so I just ripped it in the zone. And like I think it was going to be a strike if he called it anyways. I'm not sure. But like you're going for the swing there. 3-2 is a big chase count anyways. And so just, yeah, having him call it was so sick. And after especially like getting behind 3-1, throwing a fastball there and then going to that was, I mean, it was perfect. And, that's been like my best off-speed pitch, like through pro ball. And I've always thrown that curveball. And so that's been my bread and butter. Even though like it hasn't always been, the best command or whatever, like it's really come up the second half of this year, just throwing it more and like having the Dodgers and everyone around like be really confident in it helps me be more confident in it. And so just especially with Will calling it there, it's just like there was no way that wasn't going to be a strikeout with how he called that. So that was really fun.
I love the confidence too, because you got to think Heineman's probably thinking you're going back to the fastball 3-2 just because you don't want to walk the bases loaded. So yeah.
That's why I was so sick. Cause like, especially, I mean, yeah, threw 3 straight balls and then went to the fastball 3-1. You're like, all right, he's probably going back to a 3-2. Cause I'd thrown a lot of them anyways, but yeah. And then just calling that, like him calling it was so cool.
Let's talk about the aftermath real quick. So obviously you're the hero. You had to give this team 4 innings. Did any of your teammates reward you in any way? Or did you get flooded with a bunch of messages? Like, what was the reception like?
Yeah, I mean, everyone was like really nice after, and like just a lot of good jobs, and it was nice to have those guys be really supportive of that. And everyone's been great on this team. Like, it's just such a like tight knit group because you saw everyone contribute in the World Series in their own way. Like not just the guys that you consider superstars. Like everyone kind of did something special, and so that was really cool to be a part of. But yeah, like even still, like just getting a bunch of people reaching out, and people I went to high school, middle school with, played travel ball with, coaches, past teachers, like stuff. Like it's been really nice to see like messages and stuff from them, and just be able to catch up with people I haven't talked to in a while. So that's been honestly one of the better parts of it is talking to old like friends and stuff that I haven't heard from in a while, which was nice.
Your performance, just for me, solidifies what it means to use everybody on the roster in order to secure a World Series title. And there have been a lot of critics of the Dodgers out there saying that, the Dodgers just buy this championship. There's, Jason Kelsey's even out there saying, what's the point of playing all these games? And
that's why baseball sucks. That's why baseball sucks. You just buy World Series championships. It's the dumbest thing in the world. It's exciting. It's exciting that the team that spent the most money and everybody knew was going to win the World Series won the World Series.
As Dodgers fans, we're kind of frustrated by that narrative because it just shows that you're not watching these games and you're not watching how this team was able to win the World Series and how they used literally everybody on the roster to do it. Can you kind of speak to that, just the perception out there and kind of your guys' own belief as a team in wanting to win this thing?
Yeah, I think it's easy to say that when you're not like in the clubhouse, like you're not seeing all the work everyone else is putting in. Like you see the guys that you spent money on, obviously like they're exceptional, but they all started somewhere, and like it's all like you see Pages making that catch, you see Miggy making those defensive plays and then that home run, and then they like Will, and they drafted Will, and Will was such a big part, and he caught all those innings. And then you don't see like the guys that get you there, like Rortvedt, who had caught so many when Will went down, or the other guy, like all the guys that were like DFA pickups, and I forget how Muncy got here, but again, like he was another one, and just like all these other guys, and like especially on the pitching staff, like me, like you got Henriquez, you got Sheehan, you got Robo, like all these like younger guys, and Banda, who's been on a bunch of teams, and everyone that kind of played a part in it. Like Kershaw was drafted, like just a bunch of other guys that it doesn't like, you can't just win it with big money. Like you have to have the depth and stuff, like, and everyone plays a role in it. Like if you just go buy it, it'd be a lot easier to just like, this was the first repeat championship in, however many years. Like it's hard to win a World Series, and it's really hard to win too. And it's really hard to just win in general. That was the most stressed out I've ever been. But like you just don't, a lot of guys like overlook, what some of the like lower paid guys do and a lot of that, but it's just really hard to win baseball, and money can't, like you can't put a dollar bill on the mound and have that go win the game for you. Like guys still have to go and perform. And so like coaching staff and all that, like everyone plays a role, and it's just easy to say when you're looking from the outside, but it's really hard to do,
What the best part of the parade was for you?
I saw 2 signs with my face on it, so that was really cool. Just like kind of everything that happened this year, like just having like even one sign, or even people like know anything about me was cool. But just having that was cool, and then just seeing like how much it meant to the city of Los Angeles, like that was really special, and it was just cool to bring so much joy to so many people, in the city, and obviously across the country, because it's pretty widespread, and across the world, because we have fans elsewhere and stuff. And so just seeing, all the kids out there that got to skip school, like I remember, like I grew up a Cubs fan, like watching the Cubs World Series, and how excited I was for that. And so just to be able to be on the other side of that for, this new generation of, Dodgers fans, and old generation of Dodgers fans, so that was probably the coolest thing, just seeing how many like happy people there were out there.
We look forward to following you along in the 2026 season that's upcoming. Use the next few months to just to relax, do your other hobbies. Don't even think about pitching. I'm sure when February rolls along, you'll be fired up. And we look forward to more like Will Klein fired up moments, because those strikeouts you got in the World Series and your reaction after, that was freaking epic.
Yeah, it's just, there's such like high strung moments that you just kind of like let it out, and then you got to go back out there and do it again, and then it gets high strung again. And so like every out in the World Series is just so hard to get. Like it's just, you just got to let something go.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much. We'll have a great rest of your day, and enjoy the off season.
Yeah, thank you guys.